So we are live now. Oh, the questions appear in the chat, guys. I think was just a late. Okay, can you see the questions now?
Yeah.
I put the questions 1 to 8. Let me.
So yeah, it was you, Yasmin. Okay, thank you. So hello, YouTube. Morning. And today we are talking about communication. And just remember, I'm not a teacher. It's not a class. We are here to have a communication, practice the language. And that's it. I will start with Katiana. Katiana, can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes. Hi, good morning. My name is Katiana. I'm 39 years old. I live in Vitória, Espírito Santo. I'm married. I have a daughter. My daughter, it's almost 6 years, complete 6 years. I love running. I love swimming, and I complete 1 year in TALKNTALK and in last April. And I stay here because I need to improve my skills in English, because now in my job I use English a lot in the meetings. And I think it's these little things about me.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for sharing about that, because today we are talking about communication, yeah? So I think it's very important to talk about different language too. So, and you, Yasmin, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, my name is Yasmin. I'm 26 years old. I'm a pharmacist, looking for a job right now. I like to study English and other languages, such as Italian and French. But now I'm trying to focus only in my English first. And I like to learn it from reading books, listening to music, and watching films. That's my preference of studying. I think that's it. I'm on TALKNTALK for about 2 months, I think, and it's been a really good experience. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, really, actually, TalkNtalk help me a lot too. Yeah, because it's more it's good when you have some space to practice your language, yeah, and to be more confident. Yeah. So I will start with the first question, okay? And the question it's a little, it's not a short question, but it's not a deep question, but it's a good question, and talk about communication. So first with us, Katiana, please, what the difference between verbal or non-verbal communication and how they complement each other? Can you?
I think this question, when I see this question first, and I see, oh, it's so important speak about no verbal communication, because sometimes when we speak with other person, the person don't say anything, but your face communicate all the things. And I think it's very important to understand the non-verbal communication, because, for example, if a person put their arms in this form, this person is not open for the communication with you. Or if you're looking for the outside, outside, I don't remember, para cima, the person don't stay together in the idea. And I think it's very important to understand the signals in with a non-verbal communication. And because when you communicate with a verbal, sometimes it's difficult. If you don't understand the signals with no verbal communication, I think sometimes it's a trap.
Oh, I totally agree with you. Yeah, because the communication, it's not just to talk. Yeah, you need to realize about all the environment, about the signals, like you said, and the other language. Yeah, because it's not just to say something. Sometimes the people don't need to say anything, and you can understood. Yeah. So, what and about you, Yasmin? What do you think about the difference between verbal or non-verbal communication?
Uh, I think that what Katyani said, it's completely true. I mean, it's how we say and how we show the others what we're trying to give as information. I mean, it's not only words. No, as she said, you have to look into the other eyes. Uh, you have to be concise, as the video says, and you have to be ready to give the information that he wants. It's not only throwing words, you know.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, it's not just send information. You need to receive some feedback. Yeah, because communication it's a process. There are different parts in that process. So it's really important to realize about the non-verbal communication. Yeah, and I can say that because when I work, I talk all the time with a pilot, for example, but I'm in the ground and the pilots are in the sky. Yeah. So I don't know about your environment pilots. So it's hard. And sometimes we just have the words and I need to listen, pay attention, and the pilot need to do that too. Yeah, because it was different environment. And in that case, I'm not able to look or to realize a nonverbal communication. Yeah, because we just use the the words. Yeah. So the
You
question
mean
number two. Sorry.
you mean you don't have the vision of the pilot? Then you have to work with what he says or she says to you
Yeah. Yeah,
in
that's
the
it.
moment.
So I will read the second questions and the questions for you, Katiana, again. Okay. Oh, the question is, how can effective communication skills enhance personal relationships and lead to better outcomes professional setting? Because you work with English, yeah, you need to work like with communication all the time, and how important is it in your life?
or the I work with projects. In the project, you have a research, and in this research, the pesquisadores, I don't remember the name of pesquisadores, but it's comprovado, it's proved, I think. The biggest problem in the project is we don't have a good communication between the teams, and some it's necessary, it's very necessary, have a take care with the communication. For example, because I'm work with a project, if if the persons don't understand or don't have a good communication, or don't have a way for follow, it's very difficult, because one good example, I work in different teams. I work in 12 projects all the same time, and the teams it's bigger in these projects. Sometimes people don't the one people don't have time for stay during the all the meeting, and it's the end, and stay in the meeting in the end of the meeting. Chegou no final da reunião, and sometimes in 5 minutes these people understand everything wrong, and it's a difficult. And sometimes I see the people make a fight for anything because don't one speak Portuguese and other speak Chinese. It's a simulação, but it's a simple thing. And communication is very important. One other example. I think it's 2 months ago. I work in one team of project, and you have many engineers, and these engineers it's from Norway and Noruega, and these engineers come to Brazil. I think it's 5 months ago, and don't speak in Portuguese very well. And sometimes the meetings it's in English, sometimes it's in Portuguese. And in these meetings, for example, all the meetings I speak about Olodum, because we in the engineer we use the colors of Olodum. The red, it's when you need a pay attention with something, and the yellow it's the medium, and the green it is not problem. All the meeting, everyone speak about Olodum. No, these things it's in the Olodum it's red. And in the end of the day, in the end of the meeting, after 3 hours of the meeting, the Norway speaking, what is Olodum? It's a simple thing, but anyone in this meeting take care about these Norways understand what is Olodum, because for the Brazilians the Olodum it's okay. Olodum, you remember the colors of Olodum in your mind, and it's red, it's green, it's and okay, but we have a meeting for 3 hours, and anyone understand, then anyone in the Norway engineers group understand this point and need other meeting for explain for the things for the Norway engineers.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing example. Okay, Tatiana, because yeah, we need to be able when we have a communication. It's not just about when you need to talk with another person in another language, but in Portuguese, we need to pay attention about the communication, because sometimes the other person have other environment, other conception about something. And like you said, the guy don't know, the engineer don't know one word, and that's involve all the communication that the company bring for him. Né? Yeah. So it's a good example, because sometimes one word it's responsible for all the communication, because yeah, the purpose of that communication, we talk about all of them. It's not just talk about all of them, but use that word, because that word will be very common in Brazilian or in your company. Yeah. So it's really, I love that example. So yeah, and we can apply that about communication in our life, yeah, in the company, in your home, in your relationship, because we don't, for me, the communication is when you have some idea in your mind and you need to put that idea in another mind. So you use that with words or with our non-language communication. So we need to pay attention about the communication, yeah. So every time. So Yasmin, can you answer that question? How important is communication and when relationships, and we we need to do for enhance that skill in your life?
I feel like I'm at college answering these questions. uh, uh, let me check again. I think it can enhance relationship because communication is everywhere. I mean, it's not only when you have a talk with someone. I mean, you're constantly communicating something. The way you look, the way you smile, the way you dressed. So we in constantly communication. I mean, it involves everything around us. And if we're not able to communicate, we're not able to live or to have a good relationship, because you don't leave a message to anyone, and nowadays the communication at work, it's very important. I mean, not only on jobs that you have to learn another language, or you have to deal with other countries. I mean, it's important in a very broad sense. And what Tatiana said about Olodum, it's something common, because communication, it comes from, I mean, it's cultural, yeah, it's very cultural. It's okay for us, but it's I mean, it's not a word that it's in a dictionary. We cannot translate it to English, and we have to explain our culture for the others, and it's a cultural thing. And the same way as St. Patrick Days, everybody has to dress something green in other country, and we don't know why. I mean, we know some people know, because they search, what is St. Patrick Day? Why it has to be green? So but they leave their messages. It's cultural, but we don't understand.
Perfect answer. Yeah, we talk about culture, and I believe totally about that. Yeah, it's very important. We pay attention about the culture, because sometimes we have a different cultures in Brazil. Yeah, for example, nowadays I live in Salvador, but I born in Fortaleza, and sometimes I listen some words here and that I never listened before. So I need to pay attention about that and try understand the culture and the different conceptions about that word. Yeah, like slangs or yeah, something like that. So the question number 3 is about barriers to effective communication. What are some common barriers to effective communication, like an obstacle to get effective communication? Katiana, do you agree the language it's a barrier, or there are all other factors that involve a communication, or just language?
I think the language sometimes it's difficult because it's not so easier when the people don't speak the same language. For example, when you work with in the different teams, now it's in the world, it's very normal. You work in the after this pandemic, before after this pandemic, it's very normal. You work with different teams in the different parts of the world. And for example, everyone speaking English, but when do you listen Australian people speaking English, the people in the Texas or the Norway speaking English, it's or the British, because the British is very clear, it's totally different. It's the same language, but sometimes it's a barrier because I work with one Norway engineer. It's an old man, and the accent, um, the accent, it's very strong. O sotaque é muito forte norueguês. And it's very difficult sometimes for you to understand what this man said, because the English, it's sometimes it's a barrier, but the accent, it's the other barrier. I think it's accent. No, I don't remember the name of these things.
That's it. It's accents, different accents. That's it. So
and sometimes it's a difficult, and sometimes I see I think if you live in Brazil, sometimes the people don't believe in yourself, and it said, no, my English it's not so good, and okay, not, but now I work with different teams, and I understand everyone make mistakes with an English, and for in this example, for example, everyone understand when the Norway speak Portuguese wrong, because Portuguese, Spanish, it's a very difficult language for understand. I don't know how I use the verbs in Portuguese, in passado, presente, simples, não sei o quê. And imagine the Norway. It's very different. And understand, sometimes I see the preconceito, because I don't remember in English, because sometimes the people avoid speaking English because it's afraid of making mistakes, and these things is a one kind of barrier, because everyone make mistakes. It's I'm not from England or USA, and okay, it's a mistake, but it's a barrier. Sometimes people don't speak because afraid of the judge, of other people judge if you make a mistake.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's a good point when you talk about that factor, and I totally agree with you. And for me, it's something like that. But I think maybe we need to. It's because you talk about the make mistakes, yeah. And I believe we need to pay attention about the emotions, what the message you want to send, and pay attention about the emotions. It's really important because, like me, when I start to learn English or try have a conversation language in English, I'm very shy because, oh, I don't know, I will make mistakes, the other people will not be able to understand me. And nowadays I'm try to be more confident and try have a good communication. When I start to do that, and when I realize that other people understood me and my feelings don't will to harm that process, yeah, because I'm just agree about the process. I believe the process. So nowadays, I believe the emotions will not be an obstacle in my process because I learn to recognize about that process of learning. Yeah. So I other thing that I learned about the communication or when I start to study English, it's about pay attention about the communication. Yeah. We need to pay attention about what the other person need to say for you. And normally we don't pay attention in Portuguese, for example. Sometimes I just pay attention about in English or in another language because I don't know about that communication. But sometimes in Portuguese, it's very important you to have a listen activity. Yeah, when you don't have a distraction and when you try pay attention in the all message. Yeah, so I think it's very important. in Portuguese too, or doing your communication in your home or with your son, and with another other in the other relationships. It's important. So anyway, Yasmin, what do you? It's the question number 3, and what do you think, or how factors involve the obstacles in communication?
As far as I'm concerned, that's a problem already solved. Why am I saying that? Because we already have, an universal language. It's English. That's a barrier that it's not any longer a barrier, because we already create a language that everybody needs to know, to turn the communication easy between the other countries. But our culture doesn't make this decision. How can I say? Our culture doesn't make this decision easy and common for us. I mean, in Canada, they speak English and French. It's a second language. In other countries here in South America, they speak English and Spanish, some of them. No. The most of the country, they have English as a second language or first language. And we don't. And we easily could have been speaking Portuguese, Spanish, because we're in South America, and English too. But it's not okay to think like that, because it's from our culture. But if you go to Europe, everybody knows how to speak their native language and other language. Because the countries is very near, and it's small. You can travel a lot from a country to another, and they live like that. It's very common there. I have a friend on Instagram. Actually, she's a teacher, and she's in a island country, Malta. It's an island country, and there they speak Maltese. It's like a dialect. They speak English, they speak Italian, and they have an Asian language. I think it's Arabic. Everybody, I mean, a little bit of Italian, but the language they speak, Maltese, English, and Arabic. I don't know if it's the word, and that's very common. But it's like I say, it's cultural. But this problem, I think it's already solved, because there is, and it's not from today, that we have a universal language, but we have I think we don't accept, we don't accept it, because we have to work on another language, but we don't speak it here, in what I was saying. we only speak Portuguese because it's easier, but I think we easily could have been speaking at least Portuguese and Spanish, at least, and learning English.
Yeah, but we have a technology. Yeah, for example, now we are trying to talk another language, but it's like a personal challenge or personal development. Yeah, but I totally agree with you. I understand your point. Yeah, I we have the same page because when I start to study English, and I have opportunity to talk with another guys from another countries. It's very common to talk two language or three language in your country. It's like it's very common. In Brazil, we need to waste a lot of money, and it's not waste, but it's, yeah, to
Because
use. Sorry.
uh, English schools here, it's like it's a job, you know. I mean, it's a very good deal, you know, money wise.
Yeah, and we need to talk in English. Yeah, we need to talk another language for connect with another persons in the world. But yeah, and because of that, we need to use that to be a difference in your work or in your life. Yeah, because if we are here 7 a.m. in the Friday, we are not a common person. Yeah, because we are have a different action for get something in your hours life. So, but I totally agree with you. It's very common in other countries to talk another language. It's very common have a different communication. But in Brazil, it's easy just talk Portuguese, and but we don't know about all the rules about the grammar, like Tatiana said. Yeah, but we are able to have that communication, but just in Portuguese. And but we need to try and have moments like that for us training and practice the language. Yeah, but it's a different routine. We need to put that habit in our routine. Yeah, for get some difference and compare the other Brazilian guys. Yeah. So I will choose the other question. Will be question number 9 because Katiana used the English and communication in your work. So the question number 9, Katiana, is how can effective communication be used to resolve conflicts and negotiate outcomes that satisfy all parties involved? It's a good question, yeah, because involve a language and a good communication. What do you think about that? tell for us. Oh, your microphone it's turned off.
Sorry. When sorry, I forget to open the microphone. But I said, if you work with projects, sometimes you need to be a very patient person because you stay in the middle of the fights all the time. Everyone needs time for finish one thing and the other put a very pressure for you finish the job, and sometimes the people don't speak the same language, and it's difficult. It's very difficult. Sometimes you need a very one skill. It's one good skills. It's work more with negotiation. I do one thing and you give me the other thing, and um, explain the thing, these kind of things for the persons, and sometimes it's not so easy.
Yeah, because you need to convince the other persons, yeah, about your project. So because of that, I request you, how can the communication can you improve that negotiable or that goes in your job?
Sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes I said, yes, I understand you don't have time for finish this, but understand if the teams don't approve this project, the managers and the conselho put the pressure outside us, because I work in the oil and gas sector, and in this window between April and September, we finish and approve many different projects all the same time, and it's very difficult sometimes because everyone need many different activities all the same time.
Yeah,
It's not
and I think
easy.
that can be more hard for you because it's not like a Brazilian guys. It's not just about our culture. Yeah. So I believe sometimes when you have a different cultures, like as we said, you have a different valors, and it's hard to convince another part about that. So my answer for that question, it's about to resolve conflicts and use the communication. It's try to show for the other persons or the other parts about your values, yeah, about your goals, about your emotions. And when you use that, the another persons can be impacted, yeah, empath person, and understood about you, yeah. And in the same time you need to listen actively, yeah, about the another person, yeah. And I think is that when you are able to understood about the other part, it's the communication will be effective, yeah. Sometimes we don't have it's not able to convince the other part, but it's a part of the process, yeah. And but I believe that's involved emotions and values too, and that there is a connection with culture, like Yasmin said. So, and you, Yasmin, what do you how can you use the communication to resolve conflicts, or do you believe that communication can be affected for a conflict, to bring a conflict?
I think it depends on on who's talking, who's listening. I think that in this case that Katiani says, the way she deal with some other people on those projects, I think it's a very hard way to communicate, you know, because it's a lot of people, a lot of messages at the same time, and it's not something easy to talk about, you know. And as long as you're talking, you have to be confident, you know, in what you're trying to say. And even though they not receiving 100% of the message, you have to be confident all the time, the whole time of the meeting, you know. And it's hard because you know that the other person, it's difficult to the other person to understand you, you know. And I think, I don't know if it's possible, but before those meetings, maybe I should try to collect some words that it's important in what I will try to say, or what I will try to communicate for them. I will try to collect some words and some ideas in their language to in order to turn it easy for them, you know. In the same way, I hope they would understand better and try to do the same thing, you know. I don't know if Kachani already tried this, but it's something that came on my mind.
I think it's a best strategy, yeah. For me, like I probably Katiana used that, like try explain the same situation with a different conception or using different words. That's it, Katiana.
I,
So yeah, and I think when I start to learn English, I try to do that because at the beginner, when I start to study English, I try to translate my way, Portuguese way, to talk in English. But nowadays, I'm trying building a new message and use the word that I know to pass the message, to transmit my idea or my conception about something. So when we start to learn English, to try a good communication, to get a good communication, we need to use that, building a new ways to have or send the same message, like Tatiana strategy. So guys, the time is over. I will put the link in the chat. I will be.
So desligou.
Oh, I'm sorry. I turned off my microphone. So I send the link for the survey. I love the conversation. Thank you for share the different experience. And I love that communication. And so that's it. The next Friday, I will be here, 7 a.m. Tatiana, thank you for bringing some example. Was a good conversation. And please, guys, send me a feedback, okay, about this subject or suggestion about that. Okay. Thank you and bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.